One batch, two batch. It's time to talk about the Punisher on AfterBuzz TV. Let's get started. We're talking about episodes 1 through 7 tonight on the Punisher After Show.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey guys, welcome to AfterBuzz TV. We're talking about the Punisher, Netflix's new Marvel show that is intense in a way that I cannot fully describe with words, but we're gonna try to for about an hour. Thank you so much for joining us. As I said, we're talking about episodes 1 through 7. No spoilers past that. We're gonna get into that in the next episode of this show. I'm your host for tonight, Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ZachWilson. And I have a fantastic panel assembled for tonight's show. To my left,
I am April Dawn. You can follow me on Twitter and YouTube at April13Dawn.
What's up, nerds? Nate Miller here. You can find me on all social media at DogLikeNate.
How you doing, guys? My name is Zach Silverman. You can find me all across social media at Zach with a CH Silverman 2.
so you spell it right.
I do. The only way.
It's the only way.
The only way to spell
I think the jerky little kid in this show also spells it properly.
I saw that as well.
Doesn't make him less of a jerk.
No. I was not happy about him.
I don't know. If you watch The Strain, apparently little brunette boys named Zach are just all assholes.
Oh, perfect. Well,
Yeah.
I wasn't much of an asshole growing up.
So let's just, I want to just get your guys' thoughts. As I said, we have only seen through episode 7. We're just going to be covering the first, it's a 13 episode season, so we can't split it in half.
Yeah.
But we watched the first 7, and I want to know how you guys feel after watching these episodes.
Man.
I think it's really solid so far.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm extremely happy with it.
It's everything I wanted.
Yeah. I mean,
All right.
I don't know any other way to describe it. It's everything Marvel that we like and see, and it's just solid. That's a perfect description for it.
Yeah. Ever since we got the announcement that we were going to get these shows, the first thing that popped in my head was a Punisher that doesn't have to worry about being on cable TV, that can just do it how it needs to be done.
Done
like,
right.
please, just give it to me.
This was the show I think that I was most nervous for after they announced it.
Really?
And up until literally right until I started watching it, I think still as I'm watching it, the Punisher's a rough character to adapt right now.
Yeah.
You're talking about a character who's very, very pro gun violence, and being able to handle that in a way that doesn't glorify that kind of behavior is tough. And I think that so far they've covered that by focusing on his military life, and that has made this show so intense to watch. So intense.
Yeah, I think that's the heart of it. I don't know if I would even argue that Frank would be pro.
Yeah, I don't think he's pro.
I think it's more of just because of the life that he lives. I don't think he would want the average person to have access to the weaponry that he has.
Yeah.
Not that Frank feels that way, but just the character and the way that the audience interacts with
And when
that
you have
character.
those types of, when you're showing those types of guns happening in that way, it's easy to relate those things.
Yeah. But what we got was a hard look at a veteran's life post-war.
Yeah.
And basically a worst case scenario to that kind of situation.
Yeah.
Let's just dive into Frank, off the top. when we were introduced to this version of him in Daredevil season 2, I thought the best thing about him was just because that was Daredevil's show.
Yeah.
And his viewpoint on vigilante justice was it was there perfectly to align against Daredevil's. It's about protecting people, whereas Frank's is about punishing people.
I was waiting for that one.
But also just it's the other side of it. It is vengeance as opposed to protection.
Right.
And there's a difference.
Well, and especially because Daredevil, being Matt Murdock, who is a lawyer, also represents the justice side of where, yes, I'm going to catch the bad guys, but they're gonna go through their legal process and they're gonna get their punishment that way. Whereas Frank believes that the legal system is a joke and that they're just gonna get back out and do the same thing.
Well, we
again.
even had him say, when we get these guys, no trials, nothing. They die. They all die. So.
Yeah. It's very, very contrasting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, April, what did you think about did you feel like there was a difference between Daredevil and this Punisher?
So shocked that he set his suit on fire in the beginning of the first episode. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I mean, that was it's a big, like, I think that was them saying, like, this isn't what we're giving you. Like, we got that super cool sniper shot from across the border.
It's like in the video game where you start out and your character's like all super badass and you have all the moves, and then, oh no, you lost your powers and now you have to slowly build them back up again. Like, we see him, especially after Daredevil 2, like on the boat and with the chain gun, like he's full on Punisher. And then you see him burn the suit and throw it all away. I really like how they did it, though, because I think it makes a lot of sense for his character to not just be like, all right, now I'm just going to go kill a bunch of bad guys. It's like,
I'm glad
why?
that they took that route, like bringing us back to how he became the Punisher. I didn't want to see a TV show where it was just like, on to the next bad guy. Let me be this
like
badass.
a weekly...
Yeah, I don't need to see that.
Who did we kill this week?
Yeah, and that was it. We didn't need this lone gunman, like...
Yeah, because that would have...
Vigilante justice. That's what I was nervous about.
That makes sense.
Exactly.
But I think burning his suit, like burning the skull shirt, was basically the show saying to the audience, that's one thing that you could do. That's the Tom Jane version of the Punisher. We're not doing that here.
Well, I feel like it's also Frank saying, like, you know, I completed my mission.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, he's never
how
going
I
to be
saw it.
resolved.
I think we're going to see the suit again, for sure.
But I mean, through Daredevil, like, he went and killed all the cartel, and he thinks he has, you know, resolved with his family, knowing who killed him. But yeah, I'm so glad that we're not seeing a show that's going to be all about the bad guy, next bad guy, next bad guy.
It's not action driven. It's actually plot driven. There's a reason for him to do that.
I liked seeing him go, like, try and start a new life. His name was Pete, and he wanted a
Pete
job.
What was his last name?
Or no, that was his first name, right?
No, it was Pete.
Was it Castellano?
Yeah, Castellano. Some play on words.
He just wanted to be a normal dude and use his hammer, break some walls, and people had to mess with him.
Yeah, I didn't like those guys, those construction workers.
That was, after watching 7 episodes, that feels like a
so
lifetime
long ago, right?
It does.
Poor
Donnie.
I thought he was going to be a bigger part in the show, Donnie.
Yeah.
And they just totally got rid of him, told him to leave town.
I feel like he's got to come back. It felt like he was coming back.
Yeah.
But then I forgot he existed, so I don't know.
But
Well, he was replaced by Micro. You know,
Yeah.
essentially for the most part. I mean,
Oh, is it Castiglione?
there we go.
The chat is correct.
But I loved seeing even just the dynamic of Donnie and like him talking to Donnie and being like, look, like I'm not looking for a friend. Like he's obviously not trying to connect. And then you see Micro, who literally has to like force him to like even just listen to what he's saying.
Yeah, but I think it was like the start. You know, Donnie had like broke through that wall a little bit. I mean, with the sandwich thing, he was just sitting there. He didn't have to sit and take the sandwich, but he did. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think Frank doesn't. I don't think Frank is a bad guy, and I
No.
think that's a lot of what they've been reinforcing like really well with all the flashbacks
Well,
and
he
like
has
how he
an
treats.
ethos. You know, he has an agenda. He's not going to kill somebody that doesn't do something wrong.
Yeah.
And it's funny. He's not going to kill somebody that doesn't do something wrong. But if they're also not of importance to him, I don't really care. What was that? The guy tied in the chair with the when they went to go steal cars. He's like, hey, he's not my problem.
Yeah.
But he saved his life.
Yeah.
In a weird, twisted way.
Right.
You know?
But he's not about to.
No.
Hey, do you need some help?
this isn't him cleaning up the streets. That's
Right.
not his mission.
Right.
He's not chasing death the way that, like, I think a lot of the times in the comic, Frank Castle
I
is
think
just
that
like
comes
any
later,
bad
too.
guy. Yeah, any bad guy just dead.
Yeah. But that's
This
why.
is specific bad guys who have caused him harm are going to pay the price.
Right.
That's
It's nice.
that's this version's Frank.
It's interesting now because we're also seeing who else it caused harm to. Because for all intents and purposes, we all just thought it was like Frank Castle and his family who died. But now we're also seeing like Micro's involved and what was his other friend's name? Gunner's, and they all had separate ways that they like it affected them and how they like hid and whatnot.
Yeah, I thought that was really a fascinating way to approach it because you wind up with 3 people who were essentially dealt the same hand. In life, like the government did some terrible things, or the military did some terrible things, and they were covering it up. A couple people knew about it, and they were trying to kill him. These people found they got away. You've one guy whose family was dead and is now just hiding. You've one guy whose family is fine because he's hiding.
Yeah.
And that forces, between Frank and Micro, forces an interesting, completely opposite life that they have to lead. And then Gunnar, who's just, he didn't, because Gunnar, I guess, didn't have family that he had to go back to. He just went off the grid.
Yeah, completely. Well, he was hiding. He had to.
Yeah. I mean,
know?
even if he had family, he probably would have been hiding just to try to keep them safe anyway.
Yeah.
Who seemed like the nicest guy at that
Yeah.
unit. Let's
Totally
just be
threw me
honest.
off when he walked up to him and like did the whole proverb 13 something. I was just like, oh, don't give us one of these guys. And he's like, ah, just
That
kidding,
is
man.
so good.
I was like, there would be a guy like that in this kind of group.
All of
where I'm
those
just like,
scenes were so good.
well, the flashback scenes.
Yeah, the military scenes.
I really enjoy. Oh man, there was some great action in that too.
Yeah.
Whew.
I think it was also just like, this was forcing Frank to see like, these guys are you. Like you in a slightly different life.
Yeah.
You could have been these guys.
I think they did
that's
a
a good
great
take on it.
job, like with Micro's family, how Micro lost essentially his wife and 2 kids, and that, I mean, like it's almost opposite because Frank lost his wife and kids, and then
But he can't go back. Like he can't. They're not gonna like
Yeah.
after this is
Yeah.
done. They're not gonna be like, oh, we're back alive. You know, like Micro can go back to his family.
Yeah, and I love the dynamic between Frank and Micro's family. I think they're a great addition to the show.
Oh man, it's so.
disagree?
No. I do. I agree. I agree. And then like, every time he goes and sees Sarah, and it's just like, oh, these like meet cute moments that are really dark because of everything that we know that's going on. But like, if you just like put a camera on that, be like, oh, she hit him with his car, and then he's coming in to fix things. How cute. And then you think of Micro sitting there watching this. You're like, this is messed up.
Every time, I don't know why, but every time Frank goes there, like there's a chemistry between the two of them. They're obviously bonding over like a loss of family and death, and it's almost like, I think she said, misery loves company. So I felt like every time they came together, it was them closer and closer. Like I thought they were gonna kiss.
Yeah.
I
want
honestly,
them to,
want them
though.
to kiss.
It's so
I
bad.
do.
But at the same time, Micro's just like watching over, over his shoulders. Like, don't. I was like, Frank, you have morals. Come on, don't.
But
do
he
them dirty.
and Frank knows too, right? He knows.
But
that
we
the
didn't
camera-
know he knew until what was it, like episode 5 or 6.
Yeah, but
I was actually surprised when that happened because I thought they were on the same page about.
Yeah, I thought it was, like,
cameras the
implied.
Well,
whole
they weren't
time.
because every time Micro was on his computer, he switched it over. Like those shots where he's watching his family, he's always by himself, or when Frank is unconscious. And there was one time I think where he was like walking in, he had to flip it real quick. I don't think Frank caught on, but I mean Frank's a smart guy. He told him like, oh, there's bombs here, and he like looked around. There's no bombs in that quarters that he has. So, yeah, I don't know.
I did also want them to hook up.
You did?
Yeah.
Good.
I feel dirty for wanting that though, because Micro's just staring at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like they had a good chemistry, and it's so and Frank's like good with those kids, or at least with the daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid.
I think he looks
Zach.
at the Zach character, and I think he's like remorseful of how he treated his son. Because he didn't see the girl punch, right? The girl get punched.
He
Micro
heard.
He heard
did.
about it.
Micro-
Micro saw it. That's right.
Yeah.
Micro saw
And
it.
Frank, that was when Frank was like just waking up and he heard like the scuffle and the yelling. But it's also it's a little girl and a little boy. It's his family. It's like
essentially
right there in
and
front of him.
we get glimpses of that also in his dreams. That we keep going to his like that recurring dream of his wife, and then it keeps building from time to time, and then it evolved into Micro's family and his family all getting shot. And I got confused watching it first because I was like, oh wait, did his wife change? No, that's Micro's wife, and yeah. Very similar dynamics.
I love those flashback scenes. At first, I was kind of like, but as they've like evolved,
They
and
build.
like,
It's
and,
cool. You
and
get
also the
more of it.
pacing and where they happen to, and then how it affects him like the next day or with whatever happens. I think they're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Like the way that they have played the story out with the veteran stuff and with the other veteran characters and his interactions with them, and like there's just not a lot of stories that are being told like this, and it's nice that we get all this cool action comic book stuff too, but there's still a lot of heart and good messages about even just like being a man and like friendship and holding yourself accountable to like your other peers and like growing, things of that nature. It's just really cool to see them tackle all that stuff.
Being open. Like it's not this like macho version of like what a guy is supposed to be. It's like, no, a guy is protective but also understanding and looks out for his family, but also is sympathetic when his family needs things, and doesn't have to be a protective thing. That can be just an emotional person. But yeah, before like Frank, just like his journey as he gets deeper back, as he gets back into this world, like from hiding. He's got the heavy beard.
The hipster.
Until he gets called a hipster.
Like 3 times he gets called a hipster.
So good. I love that.
That waitress is just like, you look like a hipster.
And he joked with Marco's wife. He's like,
People kept telling me I look like a hipster.
yeah,
I'm tired of it.
for a man bun or something.
My only issue with that is like, was it that long ago that his picture was like everywhere and he's back to the exact same haircut?
I don't
like,
understand how people aren't recognizing him. He's very easily walking around. I mean, he has the hood up a lot, but
But especially like
someone-
Michael's wife, like,
I know.
hey, now that you shaved, you kind of look like that guy that everybody was looking for.
I mean, he's supposed
I
to be
guess people think
dead.
he's-
Like,
yeah.
do you remember? Like, there are manhunts in real life. I couldn't tell you what any of them looked like.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Now that he was maybe a little more famous than like a general manhunt now, but, like, I don't know. If I saw a picture of like any famous serial killer, I wouldn't. If I met them in real life, I wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah.
I've forgotten. So I'm willing to suspend that disbelief, even though it's maybe 6 months later.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. You also sort of
I'm
have to
nitpicking.
let it go a little
Yeah.
bit. Karen shows up
She does.
back in
Twice.
life. It is great to see Karen. Like, we got a couple Daredevil drops so far with Karen and Turk. I was so happy to see Turk.
Yeah.
I think I might be so stupid. Turk has to be in every show. He's contractually obligated to show up in every Netflix Marvel property.
Okay.
He was the first bad guy Daredevil beat up as like black hooded Daredevil.
Yeah.
So he's just a mainstay now. And he survives even when he's dealing pink guns to people.
That was so funny.
With no bullets.
Yeah. I mean, he took a brief
Slaughter,
he
man.
took a brief break to go be a cop in the 80s on Stranger Things. Now he's back being a criminal. I enjoyed it. But let's talk about Karen after my random aside about Turk. What did you guys think about her, the way she showed up in this show? Did you think it was necessary to have Karen, to have journalist Karen, like, come in here and, like, pull a couple strings?
I kind of feel like it. I mean, she shows up because Frank seeks her out. I mean, Frank is essentially dead, and there's only Wilson is his friend, right? Carson.
Curtis is
so
like,
bad name. Sorry.
Curtis is the guy
Curtis-
hosting the meetings.
Right, Curtis.
Lewis Wilson is
Yeah.
the guy with that's living in a foxhole.
Right, but there's only a few people that know that Frank is still alive, so I feel like he has to just cross off, the list. Curtis, Karen, and just kind of go from there. And it was nice. I like seeing her in it. I'm okay with bringing her in. She didn't have much, she's not taking up a lot of episodes, which is good. Stay in that other show.
Yeah, I don't know if she was if necessary is the right word. I think it's more of like a luxury, almost like you guys have seen Thor, right?
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
Doctor Strange and Thor kind of a thing, where
Yeah.
like he doesn't
Those
need to be
moments
there.
are
So
they're
good,
great,
though.
though.
Where- I'm
yeah.
not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that it's like, he's in the same world. We've already established him. He would fit in here. Why not? Like, it could have been anybody that they worked in to get that story to him and stuff, but it made sense for it to be Karen. She's already there. She's established. She has the connection with Frank from the other season before, so it makes a lot of sense. And I like her character. I was kind of hoping that she would be a little more involved throughout the rest of the season. But
Yeah.
it was cool. It's good to see
I mean,
her.
we'll see if she comes back a little
I
bit.
still also feel like when she talks to Matt, she's like all about Matt, but then when she talks to Frank, she's like all about Frank.
She
so.
cares for Frank. Like, deeply cares for Frank.
I know that she does.
It's heartbreaking almost.
I know what you're saying, and it's partially just that Deborah Ann Woll has such chemistry with
Yeah.
because she's such a good actress. It's the same problem that Scarlett Johansson fell into because they wanted to because they wrote themselves into this hole where they like had only like one woman around this world.
Yep.
And then
She's like romantically linked to all the male characters.
well, they wanted to use her, and then she's a good actress, so she ends up with having good chemistry with whoever's the lead.
yeah.
I don't know. It was. I liked seeing Karen. April, what did you think of Karen's appearances here?
I've never been a fan of Karen. I always feel like whoever she's talking to, she's super into. Like, I thought she was going to hook up with Foggy. I thought Matt and Frank. Like, I just feel like she could be with anybody. And I feel like she's just used as a plot device more than anything. And she's never really knows what she wants and very wishy-washy for me. So, not really a fan. Sorry.
But that's a fair. That's a fair
Yeah.
criticism.
Fair opinion.
I think that they at least I think call her out a little bit with Madani when she's like, you just like to get into the thick of it.
That's true.
Like
or I think
she
says
says
she's a journalist. And she's all, I know exactly
you
what you're
insert
talking
yourself into things. Sounds weird and that's not good.
Not gonna comment on that one.
Yeah, let's move forward.
Moving on.
Speaking of insertions. Oh,
Yes?
Nope.
about. No?
I thought you were gonna make a military joke, like
No,
being
it's-
like
We're
insertion into
gonna insert
into a
the next
military
topic.
aspect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, okay,
There
we
go.
made it. We all made it worse. We all made it worse. But yeah, I mean, as Frank goes on, like, do you guys think that he is preparing to go on like a rampage, or is he really just like he wants the top dog and that's it?
I think he just wants the top dog because we are seeing him almost, I'm not going to say de-evolve, but from what we saw on Daredevil, how his rampages and everything, and up until, I guess, the last episode where he could have killed that kid in the tunnel, where he didn't. He's like being more, having more morals, and I think Michael's rubbing off on him, and they're both learning from each other, so...
I don't know about that. I mean, Frank was still pretty adamant, even in Daredevil 2. Like the cops, he didn't really shoot at. It was just the bad guys.
Yeah.
And I like
But
that
he was
they
questioning his morals.
I like that they
though,
did
in
take
it,
that time
you know?
when they were driving there. Like, am I gonna have to kill these guys?
Because they're doing their job.
Right. Because,
they're
but I
working
think
for the
that
bad
also has a
people.
lot to do with him trying to actually work through and rationalize what he was, because he has, at least before he did all that bad stuff, he thought he was doing it for a reason,
Right.
for a mission. Even
Right.
after it all went bad, he didn't quite know what happened. But
Right.
now to find out that there never was a team at all, that the whole thing has been illegal and really bad, he's like, what are all the things that I have done that I was told was right and I was doing for my country and I was doing my duty, and now like, and so then he sees that in himself, and then he's thinking of these other guys that he's going to go up against, and he's like, well, I did that, I can't judge them for
Right.
doing that. So I love that he's, a character that has those thoughts, and he's not just shooting bad guys. Like it's so cool to see those dark complexities of like an anti-hero.
It's deep.
Because so often a character like that in like television is just written off as just being a bad guy or just being crazy. Like there's no, well, why do you feel that way? So I think right now he's focused on just the top dog and just like what's related to them and helping Micro out. But as from like a plot sense, I feel like we're getting the setup for Punisher and Micro going to take out whoever is an issue someplace. Not that they'll do like a weekly thing, but I think they're on their way of him being like, well, maybe my life doesn't have to be over. This can be where he becomes the Punisher, really, where it's not just the Punisher to get my enemies. It's the Punisher. That's what I do. I kill bad guys on the regular. If that makes sense.
Because I feel like he can never be fully satisfied. Like, then we just have, like, a romantic comedy, like, for a show. Like, where he's just happy and loves his life now. He'll always have that turmoil.
Yeah.
For the record, I would watch a Punisher romantic comedy.
Yes.
Like an animated one? I would watch.
I do love the bromance going on between Frank and Lieberman.
So good.
Like the sandwich thing. Frank's just like
So
eating
funny.
tuna out of a
And
bag.
he waits
didn't bring me
too. He
one?
waits till he like stirs it up and starts eating, and then he pulls it out.
He pulls it out and tries to hide
He
it.
pulls
He's
out
like,
a
"This-
giant,
this
like,
massive tinfoil
14-inch
thing, yeah.
sandwich packed to the brim.
It's like, I had to empty out the fridge. We were leaving for a while.
And even,
Put
like-
it all on. I only had enough for one.
And they get into their
That's funny.
disagreement, and he's like, "All right, fine, I'm going over to your wife's house." And then he just goes over there. I was like, "Damn, that's fucked
Well,
up."
they keep having leverage on top of each other. He's like, why is my wife calling you? He's like, leverage. And he's like, all right, well, this mission's not gonna complete until you fix the headlight. More leverage.
Yeah,
Just going back and forth.
yeah.
Oh man.
And it's a great dynamic because Micro is so methodical and tech savvy, and Frank is like that old man that's like, I don't want to touch the computer. Let me just do it with my hands, just fix things tactile. So they make a great team because they complement each other.
Yeah, fix things. Like as opposed to Micro, oh, there's a bug in the system. I should probably fix the bug. Frank's like, there's a guy gumming up the works. I'm gonna just go
Blow it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go blow up the guy. But so as we go forward with Frank, like we meet like the rest of his troop like through flashbacks and as we see them now. Let's talk about Billy Russo, as also known as Jigsaw. not in the show yet, but that's the comic book character that he's based on. It's sort of just one of those like comic things, like, oh, this is a bad guy.
I feel like he's so suave, and like you think that he's such a charming guy, but you know in the end he has to be evil. But I still was like rooting for him.
Yeah, I think if you're not familiar with the comics, I think you might be surprised by the turn of him.
I was a little bit surprised. That
Really?
I was not seeing. I haven't gone into the Punisher comics so much, but yeah, that one threw me.
I mean, I only really knew because of the name, so like you wouldn't use that name and not go that way,
Right.
But
that's what they're gonna do.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the actor is so good. He's
Yeah,
so
He
good in
is.
that
He's
part.
good.
It's so likable. It's yeah.
And it feels like real betrayal. Like what? Like even though I kind of knew it was coming, like after you see them bro down so much, and then like when they finally
You
want to
think there's like a twist that will make him bad, as opposed to he's just
right,
been bad this
like
whole
oh
time.
you're being
Yeah.
manipulated as yeah. And the implication is that like even when Frank punched him, that like he was already like working with him, right?
Yeah, that's what he said.
I think that's what he
Because
saying,
because
yeah.
like he was like I brought you into this theme to begin with, which is like
He's been dirty the whole time.
oh,
That's a bummer.
We were rooting for you, Billy.
Yeah, come on.
In my notes for episode 6, this is the ridiculous thing I wrote down. We can't trust Suave McSoldier Man. Shocker.
it's a great nickname.
And I love
Yeah,
how
that's
the one
awesome.
below it is I'm like, oh snap, like when he becomes evil. So I wasn't expecting that completely.
Yeah, I mean, he's got charisma that Frank doesn't have. Like the way he like talks his way into Madani's bed, like the way he just like when he's recruiting all of those soldiers at the Anvil
yeah,
meeting.
that speech.
Yeah.
Like sign me up.
He makes you. That's the kind of stuff that somebody when they talk like that, they make you want to be part of their team, be part of what they're doing, and it can be hard to say no when somebody's that smooth. Let's get into the rest of like the team that was there, because we were talking about Gunner, Billy, Curtis was the other guy who like we see like lost his leg, and he's the one leading these group meetings.
Was Curtis in
He wasn't.
Cerberus?
No, he was not
He wasn't in
in Cer- he was
Cerberus.
in-
That was before.
Yeah, it was before.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost his leg and got out.
But
as
he
they keep
was
saying.
he wasn't part of service, but he was like part of their
Yes,
crew.
he did. Yeah, he served with
Billy
Billy
and-
and Frank. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you guys think of Curtis?
I really enjoyed him, especially in the first episode, the way he talks to Frank. Like, they have a really good connection, I feel like.
I love him.
Yeah, I'm really happy he's a character in
And
this
I'm
world.
so glad, like, I'm so glad that he's a strong black man leading that group, caring about his community, is a positive figure, who's a veteran, who's like dealing with his issues and trying to help others too. Like, it's just
That whole was it the soldier in the hole thing?
Yeah.
That started off the episode. I thought was beautiful description, and he just wants to help.
yeah.
And it just describes
It's so
who Frank
genuine.
is.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
we see it from right at the get go, just banging on that wall with that hammer. It's just like, dude, come on, help yourself out a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I love him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, I think he's gonna die.
Yeah, I keep feeling like something. All right, between him and Lewis, I keep feeling like there's a snap that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think he's
and
gonna
he's
catch.
gonna be on the wrong end of
he's gonna
something.
catch Lewis somewhere, and he's
Yeah.
gonna try to save him, and Lewis is gonna like kill him or something.
Yeah, I really don't wanna see him go.
Lewis
and I'm gonna be upset.
terrifies me.
Oh, that actor's so good.
Like,
He has an intensity to him. There's
Yeah,
just,
he
there's
does.
just like there was moments where I felt so horrible for him and the pain that he's going through. He's just like so, just like enwrapped and blinded almost by like that other guy, the veteran, that the fake veteran.
His dad, the guy who plays his dad, Lewis's dad.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think he's more heartbreaking almost than Lewis
I know,
because he's
that-
doing everything he
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
for it.
and
Why-
you would think he would be like scared or something. He gets
Oh.
shot at, and the first thing he does is like run to him and
That
hugs
scene
him.
was-
Like that was intense.
brutal.
That got me.
That was brutal.
The way that this show handles PTSD was, I think, it was
handling it really
handled
well,
really
yeah.
well, and with like, look, I can't speak to that life. Like, I've never lived through that,
Right.
but this felt like it was dark, and an honest look at like what people are dealing with.
It's shedding light on a lot of problems that's happening throughout America, where like we all hear about these things, and like yes, I wasn't privy to any of this kind of stuff either, but you don't quite understand why people make the choices that they do. Like throughout all the shootings in America, I don't quite understand like what's that snap that makes it. But like this character Lewis, you see it, and it's just like, oh my god, like I don't relate, but I understand, and like you really feel like you don't have a choice. He's not sleeping. He goes so far to feel like he's comfortable. He digs a hole and reenacts as if he's back out in Afghanistan to like so he could finally have a good night's sleep. You know, he's going down a dark, deep hole right now.
Yeah,
For
a bunch of ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, the moment you guys just mentioned, like when he wakes up and almost shoots his dad, like he was inches from actually killing his dad.
Yeah, and it's weird because like he saw his dad, but he was not there. He was there, but not there. You know.
Yeah.
And like the snap, the flip of like dropping the gun and just being like, I almost killed you. Like he just can't live with himself.
And it's even like being in that place of where you feel like you need to sleep with a loaded weapon under your pillow.
Yeah, seriously, you're just.
All these guys do. We see like almost every one of these
Curtis
guys.
comes
like,
out with the gun.
Some justifiable. Like Curtis, I feel like it's reasonable because of the stuff with Frank. Like he knows that Frank is alive. He knows there are people after Frank. It seems somewhat reasonable that he is.
Well, I think he's also in a better mental state. Whereas like you see Lewis with the gun, and it's just like maybe you just shouldn't have a gun. Like
when he was digging up the yard, I thought he was gonna bury his guns.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be
for a moment. I thought it was gonna be a positive
he did seem
thing.
like it wasn't like he was like, oh, I almost shot my dad. Oh, okay, I'm fine. Like he was like, holy shit, I almost killed you. Like he like was like, I can't. Something's got to change. Oh man, I feel for him. That's like and I know he's gonna be like a bad guy or something too. So like that they're able to make you like feel for him.
I hope there's gonna be some redemption. I mean,
I hope so too.
He almost killed himself, you know. Now.
When we left him, though, he was making a bomb.
Yeah, like an IED.
Yeah, but but you realize what that's for, right?
To blow up that
just
house.
the house, yeah. So he could just be clean of the guy. I mean, I was hoping he would like say something to his
I
dad.
hope that's what it's for. The screws in the bomb say otherwise.
That's true.
Like that. Like
yeah, that's why I was like, oh, maybe it's gonna. But once he starts, I mean, he's making an IED, like a.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, and that's
like, it's the same thing that like we're dealing like. Just fair, like warning people. We're talking about some heavy issues, but this like reminds like I had friends that were near the Boston Marathon attack, and like that's what that was. It was a homemade bomb full of like nails and screws, and that's what he was making. That's like not a destructor thing. Like that's a violent.
That's like a do damage.
Now, you think he's doing that because of his like just loss of not being accepted into Anvil? Was it?
I don't know. To be honest, that turn, that maybe, but that I don't know. Like, here's the thing. Like, without watching further, I'm
just getting into.
I don't know what that's about, and I'm not sure I'm on board for that storyline right now because I don't know
where they could go with it because they
had
had the veteran guy that like we thought he was going to pair with and take charge, and then we find out he's a fake, and takes care of him, and it's that storyline kind of ends. So like, I don't really know where they're going.
And that's a terrible act. Like that kid is dealing like has an like in terms of going towards a dark place and seeing that this character has like moved into a place of like whether he's clearly mentally unstable.
Yeah, he feels he has no options.
Yeah,
killing himself isn't
killing
gonna work.
a guy, like murdering someone.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that we need to go another step further. I don't know what purpose that serves. So, like, in a criticism of the show, like, I just, like, the show is already one of the most violent things I've seen on television in a while. Yeah. And it especially feels more violent than, like, look, Game of Thrones does, like, really intense, like, violence, but it's a fantasy world.
Right.
Like, I can
nowhere near
mentally write that off, even if it was the same thing. Because it's not a real
people don't run
world.
around on the street with swords anymore.
This is this show is very intentionally trying to show us the real world with a couple of extra things like Frank Castle, but this isn't Daredevil. This isn't somebody with sonar abilities or like Jessica Jones or Luke Cage or Iron Fist. Like this is the most grounded Marvel show that we've ever had. Everything about this show could not be in a comic book universe and it would still work. It would still function. They haven't even, other than seeing a newspaper on the back of the bulletin about like the Avengers invasion.
Yeah.
There's not been a single reference to anything superpowered in this world.
I'm fine with that.
But it makes all of those, it makes the fight with like the guys and Gunner feel all that more like intense and uncomfortable.
And it's just like, the action scenes are just so well done too. Like as an action movie person, my #1 pet peeve is like counting ammo clips and like when they reload when they shouldn't reload, or like they never reload.
We
or
had a
like,
scene where Frank was literally counting, waiting behind a pillar. You see in his head, he's like doing this, and then you hear the and then he like does his thing. And I'm like, yes.
And when he
thank you, pay attention to detail.
When he walks into the warehouse,
so good.
With the grenade, and he starts talking about the jitters that you get from your the adrenaline and your blood pumping, and like that's so true. Like you really can't when you're shaking. You can't shoot someone even if they're that close to you. It's things like that where it's like, well, why wouldn't those guys just shoot him? Like no, there's actual tactical responses. Like when they come in, when he knows they're coming in that room, when he's in. The guy that's getting spanked and he drops those smokes and then just starts sneaking around, taking him out, leaves the gun for a distraction. Oh my god, he's a monster. And the flashbacks when he goes on that rampage
throughout that compound.
Oh
wow, he went from gun to gun. Like someone wrote in the notes, right?
That
was you. That was awesome.
It was like machine gun to pistol to shotgun to knife to rock.
Yeah.
Literally finished with a rock.
Gotta keep going, keep the momentum. And yes, it was very bloody and violent and gratuitous, and I don't know what this says about me, but I love that stuff because I just like that's when you shoot someone, that's what happens. Their brains come out, there's blood everywhere, it smells bad. It's not like a pretty tidy, oh bang bang bang, ha, like guns are cool. Like if you're gonna show guns, if you're gonna show violence, show the aftermath, and I think they really do. Like when the first time when Mike goes in that room, he's like you did that,
walked in
and then he's like,
kind of he's like, do not put your DNA all over the place.
Yeah, like you can't even contain it. Like that's, and we don't think about that because we see Frank walk in and he doesn't care, so we don't think about it. But once you put it like that would be us, right? The civilian, like so it's like overwhelming.
And then I think is why it makes sense to leave like the length of time that like when Lewis kills the guy that was claiming to be a Vietnam vet, and that guy was all kinds of messed up, like trying to pamphlet for the Second Amendment rights and all that. Like we don't want to like this guy, and it's even worse when you find out that he's lying about his service and he's intentionally manipulating a group of people who are trying to
heal,
go to therapy. He is invading a therapy session for these guys. But like the way that they lingered on him getting stabbed, it was like I wanted it to stop, and I think that was intentional.
Yeah,
I don't know. How did you guys feel?
I mean, it felt like I don't think Lewis meant to kill him. I think he just lost control. But
I think he went into military mode. Like he was back in action.
But yes, and then he puts him on the. He's already like down, and he puts him on the chair, and then he starts stabbing him a couple more times.
It's kind of like when Frank goes into like rage mode, you know?
Yeah.
He just can't. It's all
I see the
bubbling.
parallels.
Yeah, it's really hard to just like come out of it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he has a lot of reason to want to stab him that many times for all the things he was leading him to believe, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, that makes sense too, and especially with how emotionally fragile he was, feel like, all right, finally I've got some type of a direction, someone else I can actually count on and listen to, and then to find out that guy is lying to you.
Yeah, it's a rough place to a rough place to be in. Little Easter egg in that scene, maybe Easter egg, maybe it's just a complete coincidence. I caught in like there's like he has like a bunch of like movies on top of his TV. Yeah. In that scene. And I noticed it, and then I paused it, went back. There's one that just says Black Widow.
Yeah, I saw your tweet.
Yeah, really? There's apparently a movie called Black Widow inside this universe. And I tweeted it. It's on my Twitter at @ZachWilson if you want proof. But so the MCU got a Black Widow movie, but we don't have one.
I don't know if I want an MCU Black Widow movie. unless they're gonna do unless they're gonna do a Netflix series and she's actually in Russia killing people and being a Russian trained spy from like the age of 10 who murdered people. Like they're not gonna do it like that. They're gonna make her light and it's gonna be PG-13. I don't want to see that Black Widow movie.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to see
it. Wouldn't work out.
Yeah, it's like at least with Bucky, like they implied that he was like badass before, but we're never gonna see a actual Winter Soldier movie of him in Russia, like
In action.
killing people. Like, we just won't see it, unfortunately.
We don't need that, but I don't know. I would watch a Black Widow now movie, like her dealing without going into flashbacks. Like I would still watch it.
If they did like a spy, like a really spy heavy thing that just happened to take place in the Marvel universe, and like there's a bunch of cameos where like she's like, hey, what's up, but she's really there to do something else, and there's like a whole spy plot.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I could do that.
Like either or flashback to Shield. Like I would totally watch a Black
I love
Widow,
Scojo, so
Hawkeye.
I'll watch whatever.
Yeah, but like want to see like a Black Widow, Hawkeye team up spy thriller. I'd watch the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking about the Punisher.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure where Lewis's story is going, but
I'm very interested.
I'm intrigued. I'm nervous. I'm nervous for him. But let's talk about we haven't gotten to. We focused on Frank and his crew and Micro, but let's talk about Madani, the other plot line in the story. I mean, any criminal show you need to have the law side of it.
Yeah. He's always catching up.
What do you guys think about Madani?
I thought she started off really weak. Sorry. But she's gotten a lot stronger as the seasons progressed, and you get to see like how she comes to meet the Punisher. And I loved that car chase scene when they were about to play chicken until Micro came and slammed into her. I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
Getting his hands dirty.
She's like gonna get the job done. She's very driven. I was sort of like, I sort of know what you're talking about. Like they felt like they underutilized her a little bit. Like even as much as she's appearing throughout, I didn't really get a clear setup on who she was. Like I was very confused and a little surprised when what's her name? What's his name? The boss guy when Frank
Wolf.
killed Wolf.
Wolf, yeah.
When he got killed, I had no idea she was next in line.
Yeah, her rank didn't. Yeah, they totally just like overlooked all of that. Like, oh, we're bringing you in from Afghanistan, and you got the nice office. That's all kind of.
I almost felt like I was supposed to know her from like Daredevil 2 or something from season 2, and I was like, did I forget this character? Because they introduced her like you should kind of already know.
Yeah,
who she
I guess I
was.
kind of get that.
I don't know. I liked her. I feel like I liked her more in the beginning than I did later on.
Yeah, because now we're just getting like a love story, which I'm kind of not. I'm like, I really don't care of the love story. I like.
It didn't read to me as a love story as much as like.
The closest thing to a love story because she like is work, and so is Billy work. As much as a romance that could blossom from it, he's duping her.
They're using each other.
They are, yeah. Like I felt bad for him before I knew the reveal. Because I was like, oh, she's just using him.
But have we seen that he is using her?
No, I don't think so. I think he generally likes her because we had a scene where we're in Afghanistan with Frank, and Frank's like, dude, don't you just want to like settle down, like choose one person and like quality over quantity? And we're kind of seeing that flip with him where this is the one. So I don't know if it's meant to make us humanize him and feel a little bit more for him.
But he knows that they're monitoring her. Like he even makes that like. Stupid crack that like leads her to realize that she's bugged.
Yeah. So, do you think he did that because he cares for her? Because he totally just like blew the cover on that.
I mean, maybe I don't.
He definitely blew the cover on that because I feel like he actually does care for her.
I don't know. To me, nothing really. He's such a like a bad guy in all other aspects. Like I don't want to buy him at face value on this.
I'm not sold though, because I think Agent Orange brings up a good point when he's like, why didn't you shoot him? Oh, like in the docks in the middle, I'm sitting across him. Like, no, you got a whole private military. Get a guy on a sniper a block away and watch and chill him and kill him. Like he could have killed him. And I don't think that he necessarily pulled his punches in the house with all that raid scene and stuff, but I don't know if he is quite as
such a bad guy as we...
yeah, or at least especially when it comes to Frank, like committing to like ending him. I don't know if he's fully on board as much as he says he is.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, criticism, like, I think the character definitely has some flaws in like the way that she's used, but I do have like, it's not, like look like, when you look at this cast, like except for Curtis and Madani, it's like very clear what the consistent line is.
Yeah.
So like I like that she's in this role.
I like how they brought her into it also, because she even mentioned how Ralphie, I think, was her mentor or something.
Yeah,
Rafi, and was just like, she was explaining how Homeland was started.
Yeah,
and
that was really interesting.
I was like, oh my god, this makes perfect sense. Like, now you're a woman and you're also from, was she Persian? She said, or something like that.
Yeah, her parents are.
I think it's
Well, she's like very clear. Like,
I'm American. But
Uh,
everyone looks at her as if like, you know,
Yeah.
you're the inside man, woman. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, she is in like, and I think that probably to like, again, I don't work in the military, but like
Yeah.
I imagine the military and the Homeland Security has the same kind of problems that like.
I'm sure, yeah. You know what my problem with her is? I don't believe that she was in the military. I look at her, and I don't believe
She was never in the military, even the
What was-
character.
what was her
She
character
was
then?
Homeland Security, so she
She
was
was
like,
in Afghanistan though. Like,
As Homeland Security.
okay, all right. that
so
makes
like
sense.
not she wasn't like military, like she was
Right,
never a
right.
soldier.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was there as an investigator.
Because they
Okay.
do Homeland Security does work overseas also.
Yeah.
It's like a joint
Gotcha.
kind of a thing.
I don't know. So like April, you were saying you didn't really like her character at first. Did she grow on you as she went?
Yeah. How do you feel?
I'm more intrigued to see how she comes into play with the Punisher and what she does once she finds him alive. If she's gonna see that he's doing what's right and kind of let him pass in a way, or if she's gonna be completely out to stop him. I'm interested to see where that goes.
Do you think we're gonna see sort of like the Karen Page arc a little bit with Madani, where it's like I have to catch this guy. This guy's bad, and like we have to stop him, and then wait, but he might be on the side. He might be.
Their motives
He might be
align.
right.
Yeah. Like they're
so,
both going after the same thing, and once they figure out, like, oh, we're chasing the same person and trying to do the same thing, like, I think they'll help each other out.
I think she might be smart enough to know too that those type of people that she's going after, you can't just arrest them
Yeah.
to bring them to justice. I don't know if she'll agree with it, but I think she's smart enough.
I think she'll turn the
to
other.
be realistic. To
Yeah,
them.
because we already from like episode 1, she's like, yeah, people are trying to take this case away from me and just bury it. I think she realizes what needs to be done.
Yeah.
It's a shame that she like reaches out to Billy, be like, go find Frank. You know?
Yeah. Well, she even gets the confirmation from Frank that Wolf was dirty, and that's why he killed him.
Yeah. She was happy about that. She's like,
Yeah.
okay.
And then also too, once especially when you're on the receiving end of the Punisher actually saving your life and not killing you, it probably makes you think, well, maybe he only does kill bad guys.
Yeah.
doesn't want to hurt cops.
What did you guys think of Sam? His
I didn't
partner
like
in
him.
crime?
I love him. I think he's
I
funny.
didn't like him at first, but he's
Sam
growing on me.
Stein.
Yeah.
He's like the Foggy of the series, I
Yeah.
think, right? You
That's
know?
a good.
Yeah, little.
He
He's
grew
like,
on me a little bit.
he's sort of like
some good
snarky
clips.
and like people
He does have some
shit on him a lot, but like he's good at his job when you actually like let him do his job.
Yeah.
And he does stand up for himself.
That's the redeeming factor of him. That's what I like about him, because he's like, Madani's always like, oh, I'll trust. Like, trust it needs to be earned. He's like, well, it goes both ways, you know. So.
Yeah. But like I mean, she has started to trust him.
Yeah.
We have seen like the bug thing.
Yeah, that was a great scene.
That was a cool like really like spy thriller thing. They do some like cool spy thriller like shots and everything when they're in that plot line.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see what Sam's. I'm nervous that Sam's gonna die.
Yeah.
He's too nice.
I feel like everyone's just gonna die. I mean, Curtis, Lewis, Sam, they're all in trouble to me.
Look, you're nice on a show about the Punisher. Like
It's not gonna end good
it's
for you.
not a great start.
I don't know. I'm not really worried about Sam. I think
I think Sam's gonna be fine.
he may get shot in the butt or something for like comedic effect, and then has to limp around.
I could see that. I could see that. I know there's like at least one other cameo coming from the federal government side.
Okay.
I won't spoil it in case anybody is like waiting on it, but like there's more law enforcement people coming.
Cool.
Nothing like mind blowing. It's more along the lines of Turk, and it's gonna just make me nerd out in a big way. So let's talk like predictions and like moving forward, like where we left Frank at the end of episode 7 was
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Man, I skipped over the bug. Where we left Frank was he finally found Agent Orange. He's got him in his crosshairs. CIA drops. I'm surprised. I'm surprised Frank didn't think about the fact that there's probably bulletproof glass at a CIA safe house. But I really thought that was going to end with him getting shot. I really did.
I did too.
Look, it's because like this is about this is about the time where like in Luke Cage, like we had a big villain shift. And like we've seen that in other shows where like the villain we're focusing on sort of shifts around mid-season, and like the first half and the second half have different feels. So it easily could have, and this did signify a change. Like there's a shift in what we're going to be doing because we chased, we found, and now now they know he's there.
Yeah.
So it's evolving.
And I think especially with like that first shot too, and the way it was set up, and like just all those episodes before, you see Frank is just so efficient. And I think a lot of it is that too got into his head of not thinking fully tactically. Like him taking that shot, fully aware Frank would not take a shot at glass like that, not thinking that it's probably reinforced in some type of way.
Yeah, he wouldn't have seen him just like walking around very like confident. You know, there's a lot of windows in that, and if you have a deranged madman chasing after you, like you would not walk in front of a window if it wasn't, you know, reinforced. So yeah, Frank definitely was off his game on
even
that
with
one.
like the lights came on and we heard a bunch of men shouting, so it wasn't like he just found him in some getaway mansion in like the Hamptons or something. It was like I don't know, like a small base or something. Yeah. So it was a little rash of him to think that he could just end it like that.
I think what happened was Micro kind of got into his head where he was like, they think they have the step ahead of us, but we actually do because we went to go get the phone, not to like kill the guy.
Yeah.
I think Frank kind of like eased up a little bit. And was just
overplayed his hand.
This is going to be it. This is it. We got this, you know. So.
Yeah, I think he needs more of Micro's involvement because he's not going to be able to just bash his, hammer against the wall to get it down. It takes a little more finesse for this type of issue.
I did want him to keep shooting though, because I was like, the glass kind of splintered. Like, just keep firing, Frank.
Just rapid fire at it.
But when they spin around, like you can see, like from the inside, it's just like that's more just the bullet sprayed against the
pretty much
glass.
It was cool.
The way they shot it was
there's a parallel to the first shot, which is like I was waiting for a second because in the first shot we heard the gun shot and then it was like a second or two and then the head.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, did his head like flip back? Did he die? And then I was like, oh man, it didn't. I thought it was gonna be the same thing.
It's like dark and like they play with the angle, so and he flinches.
He did. So I was like,
it looks like he got him, but then you see that he didn't.
Well, he was surprised. I mean, look, the glass just shattered in front of you, even if it didn't break.
Like, and not even just like in your general direction, like exactly pinpoint that
on your head.
It's like if you've ever sat like in the front row at a hockey game.
When the
puck goes, you jump. Like you know it's not gonna hit you, but it doesn't matter. I don't know. What do you guys think Frank does from here?
He shoots people.
You got it.
I mean, does he run? Does he try to get into the base? Like all we saw was him just like.
I think he definitely runs.
I think
he
wants to retreat.
I think he needs to reevaluate the situation, talk with Micro some more.
I think they're going to. My prediction is that Michael's family is going to get in trouble. I don't know if they figure out he's alive or if like they see Frank go there or something. But I think them having be there and also that us like liking them so much, like it makes sense to put them in danger.
I'm really surprised that that actually hasn't happened yet, because he goes there multiple times.
Yeah.
And like I guess Mr. Orange, or whatever his name is, already had been monitoring and like kind of knew Frank was alive and was worried.
Right.
Knew he was alive, but maybe probably doesn't know his every move. Like I think they would have taken Micro's compound if they knew where he was.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
But he walks around so nonchalant sometimes. Little pet peeve of mine. That's all.
Yeah, I think he's staying enough under the radar.
Yeah,
like Frank's smart. He doesn't let cameras see him. He's probably changed up his walk.
That was pretty cool.
And I also have a question. Is that a real technology? The gate analyzer?
I have no idea. I wouldn't see why it wouldn't be. It makes perfect sense. Facial
Are our
recognition,
walks that unique?
Did you ever watch? It's not the walk per se. It's a lot of different things. It's just some type of software that I don't know if it exists, but I'm sure it does. It would be bizarre for them not to have it at this point, especially Homeland Security. Did you ever watch? What was that show with the guy with the glasses? What is that show called? Numbers? Is that what it? No, it wasn't Numbers.
That was a show.
Yeah,
No, not that one. It's a different one. But there's a show that's
one with
about
the
basically about
glasses.
this, where the guy designs like this big computer system for Homeland Security that watches all the cameras basically, and then there's like an AI that reads everything and then detects when things are gonna go bad. Anyways, it's a good show.
Interest?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That one. Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Right,
that show's
nice.
it's a little future tech than in reality, but if you think Homeland Security doesn't have some type of feed that monitors lots of cameras that can identify certain features, height, hair color, things of that nature, and sort of not like pinpoint where people are, but get an idea of where people are, of course they do.
Yeah.
Of course they do.
Yeah. All right. Well, final thoughts. April, like any final thoughts as we wrap out? And we'll go down the line.
I think this is the most curious I've ever been with a Marvel show, to see where the side characters go.
Yes.
Like, I am so interested to see how they incorporate Lewis into, like, with the Punisher. I feel like they have to be really careful with that. With all the PTSD, they have to handle that properly, but I'm very excited to see what they do with him.
Same. I'm blown away at the side characters and the drama and like how story driven this is, and not just action and like generic superhero tropes. It's just really refreshing, and I'm excited for it to get. I'm sure it's just gonna get more violent towards the end.
I cannot wait.
Yeah,
for the
I
violence.
love it.
We've had enough storytelling. I think 7 episodes to now come the
To
violence.
warrant some cleanup.
I think we
time.
need a lot more violence. I don't know. I feel like we're gonna see a little bit of that woman that hired Mr. Orange. She was moving up in the ranks, and he's moving up with her.
Oh.
Okay.
I mean, she has to essentially be taken out as well. I feel like.
I kind of got the impression that it was like his own side thing that he was running, that he just happened to be.
Well, she hired him because of that. She's like, I'm bringing you with me because you get things done. I want you to clean things up and get things done.
Right.
So, like, I feel
But
like it's going to go up the ranks.
She only knows the results of what he does. She doesn't know
That's
what
what
he
I'm
does.
saying. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like,
Okay.
and granted, she may not care what he does to get it done.
No, I
she
don't
may
think
only
does at
care about
all.
the
Yeah,
results.
exactly.
But
Okay.
I don't think she is quite aware. Because there's also a
But she
certain
knows-
like accountability too, to be like, well, I didn't know he was doing that,
Yeah.
especially in those covert.
Yeah. Well, that's why she
circles.
says, like, is there anything that, like, skeletons in the closet? So.
Right. Exactly. And that with that question, I feel like we're all like, yeah, Frank
of course there
Castle.
are. Come on, seriously. Yeah.
No, everything's
He's
fine.
He's got a skeleton on his chest. It's very clear that he's a skeleton in your closet. Yeah, and I mean that whole showdown between Orange and Frank. Like that's what I'm very curious to see how that's gonna build, because it felt like honestly at like episode 5 was like, do we really have? Is there really 7 or 8 episodes left of this show? So I'm very curious. Like there has to be at least one other big shift coming.
It's got to be something
or
with Billy,
twist.
I'm sure.
I feel like they
Yeah.
have to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Billy and Frank.
Well, we
Frank is-
got
yeah,
a glimpse
just
of
fuck
it.
him up though. Like,
Yeah.
it's not
He'll
a.
attempt to fight.
Billy's a great talker, but he even says it like multiple times. And like when they're in the bar, it's like Frank saved my life. He killed all those dudes and just told me to stay there. Like, he's a monster. He knows what he's up against.
I mean, that's the difference between them, is that he is like, he's the person putting the puzzle together from the back. Like,
well, I think it also has to do with, you know, like all the flashbacks we see and how much Frank cares about his family, like, and how he would talk to them about what he was going to do when he get back and how he wants to get back, and like, he's willing to do anything and go as far as possible because he wants to go home and see his kids. He had something to fight for.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the other guys, like Billy, is just kind of
why
there.
he
He's
went the
here.
route
He's
that he-
there.
yeah.
Exactly,
It's
and
kinda-
that's
yeah.
why it was
But
a
it's
different road
interesting
for
though
him.
because you saw Frank saying like, you know, I have 2 families, and at times I felt guilty because I would rather sit in the trenches with my brother family as
Yeah.
opposed to like hanging at home with my kids.
Yeah.
So like, there's something to say about that because man, if they go up against each other, I don't know. Like both of them are going to be like, I can't kill you though. You know, like there's a deep bond there.
They
both took shots at each other.
Unless he says, like, oh, by the way, I was involved in the situation with your wife and your kids being killed. That might quickly
That- okay,
cross
will
the line.
definitely-
He'll just,
yeah.
you know, go into a
Okay.
rage.
but I mean, he effectively was. Like, we sort of are acknowledging that he was. Whether he knew about it
Right.
is another story, but like, he's
He
part
was
of the
involved, for
conspiracy
sure.
that got him
Yeah.
killed. I have a dark prediction.
Do
I,
it.
I think Billy's gonna wind up like kidnapping Sarah, Micro's wife.
Really?
And like he's gonna have her like at gunpoint, and Frank's gonna have to like he's gonna because it's forcing
Yeah,
him to
okay.
try to
That, I
save
see, yeah.
the family that he couldn't save the last time, and it just fits too well.
That's
yeah.
a great prediction.
And like it's the way, because like right now Billy, we kind of want to like him, but that's like, no, he's the villain, and that's gonna make him the villain when
Yeah.
he goes after that family.
I was worried he was going to be the one who was actually behind the mask and actually killed Frank's family.
That's not how it.
No.
That's
That's
not
not
so happened at the
That's
carousel,
not what actually
right?
happened. Yeah, they're not retconning it. I think that's just his like.
It's
his-
because he feels
feels
so. He
guilty,
feels like
yeah.
he killed his.
Yeah.
It's his fault, and so that's why in his dreams, when the mask comes off, it's him who shot them. Not. It's not literally how it happened.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
still like in the gang. It was still at the carousel with it caught in the crossfire of the gang.
yeah.
But like I think what they've established here is that whole gang warfare was set up by Agent Orange and everyone down the line from him as a way to cover killing Frank.
yeah.
So it was like they basically set up a massive gang warfare and got Frank caught in the middle of it, which is a little like crazy like TV storytelling at that point. Like we established that like one kind of conspiracy that was just to cover up the gang like thing that like went awry with the DA in
little
Daredevil
bit,
season 2,
but I
and
mean-
that made sense. And now we're putting this government conspiracy hand on top of it. It's one of those things like don't read too much into it because we needed to do this Punisher story and it needed to be like built off of his family getting killed, but just let those be slightly separate stories.
I think it works.
I think it works.
Yeah, I think it works perfectly.
Yeah.
You have to have enough pull to like get those two gangs together, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah, and for them to get it together without knowing what the reason was too, and then also like, you're the one who sent Frank out there and watched him kill those people, and then come back alive, and then you're like, we got to take care of that guy.
Yeah.
Well, let's send a lot of guys. Like you don't just send the one guy to kill Frank.
No, you sent a lot of people.
A lot of people.
But then
You
you got
start a gang war.
But then he's got a thick skull and another skull on his
He's a
chest.
skull guy.
So he just deflected that bullet. And with that, we're going to call it a wrap on the first half of the Punisher After Show here at AfterBuzz TV. Thank you guys so much for joining us, whether you were in the live chat or are listening to this later on a podcast or watching this later on YouTube. I know we couldn't cover everything because we were covering 7 episodes in like an hour. So if there's a favorite plot point or an Easter egg or just a favorite like storyline that we didn't get to talk about, let us know in the comments below or tweet it at us because we want to keep this conversation going. There's a lot more to talk about when it comes to the Punisher. So leave us a note, leave us a review on iTunes, whatever it is. Let us know what you thought of the Punisher. And we'll be back soon to talk about it. We don't have
After
the date and
Thanksgiving,
time
I think.
locked down
Sometime.
because
Sometime
of Thanksgiving. It's look, everybody's got to travel. This is Los Angeles. No one lives here. So we'll be back to talk about the last 6 episodes of The Punisher soon. You guys can find me, Zach Wilson, at that Zach Wilson on Twitter, ThatZachWilson, and also be sure to check out the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. after show, which is coming back, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. premieres December 1st, and we will be back shortly thereafter to talk more S.H.I.E.L.D. April?
You can follow me on Twitter and YouTube at April13Dawn, where I talk all the nerdy things all the time.
Hey guys, you can find me on all social media at DogLikeNate. And also I do a weekly gaming culture show on our Popcorn Network channel called Inventory Full every Monday at 6. So come check us out over there.
Very cool. And I am the other Zach Silverman. You can find me all across social media at Zach with the CH Silverman 2.
All right, guys. This has been the AfterBuzz TV Punisher After Show. Thanks for geeking out with us.
Thanks.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.